An awful lot of people are leaving the Fed. What will this do?
Well, it does leave a vacuum in terms of experience and institutional memory for the Open Market Committee, particularly. That's the interest rate setting group within the Federal Reserve, because the New York Fed president is the vice chairman of that group. The chair is the chairman of the Federal Reserve. So Jay Powell is going to come in new, and by mid-2018, we'll have somebody new in the vice chairman's role. According to the New York Fed, Bill Dudley is retiring about mid-2018 because he wants to have a successor in place well before the end of his term. Fed presidents can only serve for 10 years, basically, and his time is up in January of 2019. So he's basically leaving about 6 months early. Not a huge deal, but as we say, it does leave a bit of a vacuum. He's been at the New York Fed since 2009, considered an ally of Janet Yellen. By tradition, New York Fed president doesn't dissent, but he has been seen as somebody who believes, as Yellen does, in keeping rates as low as possible for as long as inflation doesn't come up.
Michael, the nomination process for the New York Fed will not be The Apprentice all over again, because it's a very, very different nomination process for a regional Fed president. Talk to me, though, about how this composition may or may not change over the coming months with the amount of openings that we do have currently.
Well, you got two different things going on. You're going to have 3, maybe 4, if Janet Yellen leaves the Fed as expected. You'll have 4 vacancies on the board. Those are nominated by the president and confirmed by the Senate. The Fed bank presidents are now chosen and nominated by their individual bank boards. The Federal Reserve Board in Washington has veto power, but has never exercised it over a candidate. So right now, the New York Fed has a search committee that is looking for a replacement for Bill Dudley. It's being led by the chairman of the New York Fed Board, Sarah Horowitz, who runs the Freelancers Union here in town, and Glenn Hutchins, who is the head of Silver Lake Partners, of course. The Fed boards have 3 categories of people. One is bank members, including James Gorman. He's the head of that group. They are not allowed to participate, so the banks aren't choosing their own regulator here. So we're waiting to hear what happens with the Fed Search Board, and according to Bill Dudley, they should have someone in place, they hope, by mid-2018.
Okay.